Let's get it going, guys. Both teams making their way out on the map right now. Looks like maybe we're going to have the Black Feather hanging back on the backside of his jungle here. Not that early three-man aggression, just throwing blows in the first minute of this game.
I don't think there's any way you want to invade on the C9 composition, but C9 looking like they want to make the invade happen for themselves. I think this is good. You have the advantage early on, that range advantage, incredibly good against both a Thin and a Black Feather early on. Really like this from C9. This aggression will be warranted.
Well, they will be able to take away the mid from Gankstars, a nice tool for them early. It will help secure the Elder Treant as well.
Looks like Gankstars are shoving that lane. This is the best response you can have to a three-man invade. If you can't get to their backs easily, just shove that lane in, try and put pressure on their laner. Old School will return in time, though. Didn't think they were given enough time. The back invade didn't come out from C9 either. They just secured that mid. And actually, it's a good start for C9, but it's a bit of pressure onto Gankstars early. The siege from C9 is amazing as well, by the way. Triple ranged. The kite potential of this team is incredible. And Bright Bulwark, if Black Feather commits, will separate him from the entire team from Gankstars. I think C9 have won this in the draft phase.
I get tilted off the face of the earth when I'm playing a Black Feather into a good Lyra. Gabe Vizzle, I would expect, will be dropping those Bright Bulwarks on time, on point through these fights. Now, Cloud9, let's see if they're going to go for a little more aggression, take away some more camps. And it looks like this should be the mid going their way. Rex on the backside, he knows what's going on. Polite Company not going to be able to steal that one off. Once again, Joseph going to be able to grab that region.
Pre-6, this triple range is going to be fine into Black Feather. You just walk up to him in the jungle, you put pressure on him. Obviously, he's only got his A to commit to you in terms of distance. When he gets 6, it's a little bit harder, but then you do have the potential to kite with the Frostburn from I Love Joseph. Gabe Vizzle, like you said, those Bright Bulwarks and the movement speed boost from the Sigil, excellent for kiting against something like a Black Feather. And like I said, Crucible shuts down the only reliable way of engaging that Gankstars have. I don't know how you chase a triple range composition as Gankstars. How do you make that happen? Ward Treads has got to be an early consideration you have to feel for Rekt.
Yeah, I feel like it's more like they have a very strong pivot point around the Finn, around the Adagio. Not so much great for chasing unless you're executing targets and the fight's going your way. But it feels like that would be a mistake. But
if C9 are smart, which we know they are, which maybe not.
Right, you know they are. Quibble's going to come down, pretty good damage, but Old School's dropped.
Oh,
they reversed it.
Xenotech!
Xenotech is done. He's the first blood going the way of Cloud9. Now Rekt, he's got target lock on him. Joseph chasing forward. He's going to go down as well. 2 kills to Cloud9. When they turn it on fast.
See how difficult it was for Gankstars to follow up on that engage right there. Everybody from Cloud9 started moving backwards. Forward barrage came down. Old School using those stutter steps.
Strike over the top. He's got damage, but a little bit caught out here. Drops the forward barrage and gets himself out of there. I like that he canceled that forward barrage very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. C9, no, they're not done yet. They want to continue this aggression, punish the Black Feather pre-6.
Yeah, you can't allow Xenotech to start grabbing regen and thinking about being able to fight you. Now that's going to go the way of Gankstars, and actually Xenotech able to pick that one up. It is so incredibly important that the regen is going the way of Gankstars there.
And look at all this aggression. Old School joining for 3-man rotations, and he's still got a 10 CS lead on Araki Zoro. They are having their cake and eating it right now, C9.
They don't call him Gold School for nothing.
No, they don't. So I you know, to expand on what we've been talking about, humans, I am worried that if Gankstars don't get a hook, they lose every fight every time. Because if you try and run at this C9 composition, they will laugh at you. They will pop Bright Bulwark, they'll pop Sigil. We've got maybe an engage here, but I think Xenotech's thinking better of it.
Yeah, I think these guys are a little focused, too focused to be laughing, but maybe they'll do the laughing after right now. It almost feels like they're going to need a bait on the side of Gankstars, but will Cloud9 put themselves in that situation moving forward? Hard to say. The play thus far in this championship has been phenomenal out of Cloud9. Not a lot of people actually gave them the credit. Everybody knew this was going to be a great team. Now Rekt, he's been caught here again. Target lock, the forward barrage coming through, a Suri strike, and that will be another mid going their way. These guys, I think they've gotten the last 3.
Yeah, I mean, but there's no way for Gankstars to punish them right now. Like, you have to rely on Cloud9 walking into melee range to be punished. You have to get hit by a Quibble or being brought close enough to get Polite Company to do some real work. Because C9 can keep range right now, and Gankstars can't do anything about it.
Well, minute by minute, moment by moment, we will have Rekt getting these levels, getting that experience. When he gets to level 6, he'll have the Force Accord, as you mentioned. But then past that, the level 8, so incredibly important.
Absolutely. The key point as well, with obviously level 8 giving you the stun on the Quibble, and Forced Accord at level 6 will be the one moment in the game where Gankstars might be able to pull the trigger and find their way in. That will be no Crucible finished for Gabe Bizzle, although he is working very closely towards it. If Gankstars can get level 6 before Gabe Bizzle gets Crucible, which isn't looking too likely right now, but it could be a situation that occurs, they might be able to pull the trigger and force an engage onto C9.
Oh, they can't even protect. Crystal Sentry down. C9 looks like they want to pull the trigger and go in here. The flare's coming out. They don't want to go in too deep at this moment. Joseph maybe tries to take away that back there. He's going to think better of getting in too deep. Wrecked with a polite company. C9 looking to take the backs away. They're going to go ahead and get those.
And Gabe Bizzle with the cheeky sigil to get them out at due key course speed as well. You also have to realize here that as C9 move in, they can afford to take a little bit of punishment. If they overstep a little bit to get a good forward barrage off, overstep a little bit to get Old School within range of basic attacks, they always have that get out of jail free card of the healing from Gabe Bizzle right now. They've got so much room for error, and trust me, they are not making many errors, but they have got so much room for error with this composition that Gankstars have to be playing pinpoint perfectly, abusing spikes at the right time, finding flank positions, trying to catch Gabe Bizzle off guard for Crucibles when Rex gets level 6 to actually find their way even for a potential to win this game.
Big wave, and it's got a minion candy here. Let's see how this fight goes. Wait for it. We'll silence out Xenotech, but nothing quite to follow. As Iraqi Zoro's going to have a little bit of trouble farming out this wave here. Going to give C9 time to make a clear decision on exactly where they want to move. Joseph once again trying to take away the mid. He's going to go ahead and get it.
Gabe Bizzle very close to having that Crucible finished. It looks like Rex nearly hitting level 6 right now. It'll be whether they're in a healthy enough position to pull that trigger. There is already a reflex block for Gabe Bizzle. He could block it himself and not get dragged in here, but I Love Joseph and Old School are really the key targets for them. I Love Joseph should be able to Suri strike away, and then Old School will have to try and use his Sonic Zoom.
Now, if you had the choice, if you're the Finn, which of those targets would you prioritize if you can only grab one?
Sky, because of how mobile Sky. I think because of how mobile Sky is, you can always. I think actually it's far easier for Blackfeather to chase Old School down because Old School's got a very short dash that is again a linear dash, which is kind of going in the same way as Blackfeather. Both of them are linear dashes. Obviously, where Sky has this kind of 360-degree mobility with that Suri strike. I think I would be prioritizing I Love Joseph, take him down, and then you can allow Xenotech to try and chase Old School. That would be my initial impression about how to approach this. But I mean, Gabe Bizzle's got Crucible, and Rex only just hit level 6. This is the one item, I think, that was the complete shutdown for Gankstars. And knowing how successful and how on point Gabe Bizzle is with his itemization and use of items right now, I think it's going to be very difficult for Gankstars to find their way in.
Oh, perfect timing. Gabe Bizzle completing that Crucible as Rex gets this level 6. Right now, Cloud9 is in rhythm for this game, exactly where they need to be.
The one out, I think, for Gankstars right now is if Rek turns around and says, okay, I'm going War Treads. War Treads right now, it gives me some sort of in with the team. Okay. I accelerate both Iraqi Zoro and Xenotech, and we be aggressive because we want to get in there, deal as much damage in a short space of time as possible, and take out one of the C9 members very, very quickly. If you allow C9 to reset a team fight, get the kite going, get the bright bulwark down, get the sigil down, Gankstars is going to get eaten alive.
Yeah, there's so much slow potential coming out there that if you overextend for a second, they can turn it around. Xenotech eats a lot of forward barrage damage. I mean, even without the target lock right there, Joseph just pummeling through the health points of Xeno.
Old School obviously got his Sora Blade Poison Shiv. Now that's going to make it easier to kill Xenotech, who's got a little bit sustain with his own Poison Shiv. But obviously, Xenotech is relying only on the Poison Shiv for his sustain. Obviously, Old School has got multiple areas like that Sigil, obviously coming through from Gabe Bizzle.
Xenotech, they've made the call to go in. I don't know if this is the call, but they're going to be able to sustain just for a second. They're going to lose Xenotech. It's backfired for these guys. And now Iraqi, he's completely isolated on the backside, tries to take an arcane passage through, but it's too little too late. Gankstars have lost too. The
problem with Gankstars, they had to make that call. At some point, you have to try and force an engage when you have the opportunity to. Otherwise, this is exactly what was going to happen all game. It wasn't wrong for Gankstars to make that call. The problem is that they probably needed to do it a lot earlier and not be so punished early in the jungle. But how do you stop that? My word, Finn goes down as well. Wrecked, knocked off.
Yeah, Rek doing his best to keep this turret alive, but Cloud9, too much damage, too much mobility. And once again, we see that 88% success rate on the reflex block coming out of Gabe Bizzle. You know, we've said it time and time again through the seasons. This guy, one of the best when it comes to activating that item. It's just insane stats.
Let's not forget what this means to Cloud9, Humanist. You've got Old School and I Love Joseph respectively, two of the best in their roles in the world. Neither of them, I believe, has won a live championship before, especially Old School. I know that is 100% true for him. If they win this series, not only do they get themselves a world spot, they get themselves the live championship that they will have been craving since the start of their Vainglory career.
Absolutely.
This is a massive, massive series for them, and they have brought out all the stops.
With every movement across this map, every kill, every gold miner taken, Cloud9 find themselves one step closer there.
Absolutely, and that's the one gold miner. It gets stolen by Xenotech though. Xenotech comes in with the on point, and every gold mine, well, the Gankstars have taken one small stepping block, but I think that's a stair that I think C9 will be very happy to skip. They will take a double stair up and continue moving. It's a very small comeback for Gankstars. I still don't think it's enough compositionally though, Humanist.
Oh, that's exactly the kind of plays we need to see Xenotech making. If he can land those cheeky steals, if he can get in there, find some executes onto key targets, exactly what Gankstars need. Now, he does have a level 8 infusion timing out here. A little bit unfortunate if we see pressure applied in the next minute here.
Absolutely. When you buy an infusion early on, you need to be forcing team fights around it, and I think that's what he was trying to do earlier. He bought the infusion. It was very important that they searched for a fight to get an advantage. It feels so bad. I think that SK will be the first to tell you. It feels so bad to invest in early infusions and then lose the fights anyway, because it's basically wasted gold at that point in time.
We see Rex constantly moving around here. He wants to keep his motion unpredictable just in case he wants to throw a forced accord out here. Cloud9 currently moving as a unit once again. Old School sitting on his own infusion, completes the breaking point. What does this mean for the Vox to have BP completed?
But it's not only the BP, but Joseph's got his broken myth as well. So suddenly, Finn is one of the easiest captains to stack on. Finn is so slow. You combine that with a Frostburn, it's so easy to stack breaking point and broken myth on him. So he's a really big target, a really big hero model, and C9 should very, very easily be able to hit high damage outputs in these team fights, especially when kiting.
All right, well, Rex level 8, you see him start to find these area of effect stuns. Rex having a little bit of trouble trying to survive through this, but he's holding his found has the Atlas. Atlas lands onto 3 of Gankstars. You gotta be careful here. Cloud9, they're very close to finding the kill. That's gonna be Gabe Visible with the block off on the forced accord. Once again, we said it, he blocks it. This guy, it is so hard to land these abilities onto C9.
Not only that, you've got Old School and I Love Joseph with their own respective reflex box now. So if the stalwart of Gabe Vizzle fails, you have the mechanical prowess of Old School and I Love Joseph to back up as well. There is literally zero way that Gankstars find the engage that you need. You're right, obviously right, you do have to be worried. Rex gone Journey Boots on the Finn. Rex gone Journey Boots on the Finn to increase his mobility. Obviously it gives you the most mobility on an item in the game in terms of increasing your base mobility. And obviously it's got a very short cooldown. Instead of the War Treads, it's more crucial that he feels that he gets into the fray, because obviously Xenotech has the ability to follow that up. It's more crucial for Rek to get in there to use Quibble. He wants to use those Journey Boots to get that Quibble onto key targets, and eventually through basic attacks try and reset it to keep that mobility up. I actually like that potentially more than War Treads.
Well, it makes sense to me, and we also see him starting to stack up a little bit of shield here as well. Good damage coming out. Rek trying to move backwards here. He's going to be able to get out as Goldmine starting to go down by Cloud9.
They should be able to secure this one. No cheeky steals coming from Xenotech this time round. Again, Vision completely dominant. Something you talked about in the last game, by the way, Cloud9. It's almost gone untouched because of how quick these games have been, but Gabe Vizzle, despite everything else, has been keeping insane vision control of the central area of the map, and that is so important, especially against compositions where one of the major flaws for C9 would be face-checking a brush and doing all of the hard work in terms of engaging for Gankstars. By keeping this vision level up for C9, they won't have that mistake to make. You know, they can just literally say, okay, we know exactly where Gankstars are on the map right now. We're not going to make the face check mistake. I think that's one of the only ways that this goes wrong for C9. If they walk into Finn and he makes a Quibble without even having to use his forced accord, it's one of the only ways this goes wrong for C9. Got to be honest, the drafting team behind C9 has been fantastic this week.
I completely agree with you. It's insane what Gankstars are going to have to do to try to find the win here. And as we zoom out on this map, you look at the vision that's coming out as far as those scout traps across the map. You talked about the flares and the danger of face-checking a brush there. But there's no way that Gankstars actually move out onto the map to get in position to surprise C9 in the first place.
Exactly. You literally hit, I didn't even need to do the analysis because you hit the nail on the head right there. I've got to be honest though, Gankstars, they have this sort of very early aggression that they've had from Xenotech all weekend long. And you're going up against one of the most aggressive junglers in the game. There was only going to be one result when you try and match up two incredibly aggressive junglers, but iLoveJoseph is the OG aggressive jungler. He knows exactly how to play these early minutes, and that's been so crucial because Gangstar has snowballed, really. In a lot of cases, they have snowballed from those early minutes.
Dangerous situations as C9 look to apply more pressure. This turret very close to going down here. You can see Joseph abusing the range out of the sky, and this is something that we don't see all Sky players do, and he does it almost better than anybody.
Literally, and they are literally, the range is the buzzword for this composition right now. The range advantage they have on Gankstars is the main reason that this is going wrong for Gankstars. Like we said, Gankstars just cannot commit easily. They can't deal with how easy it is for the C9 composition to kite, and the range advantage means that it's just almost impossible for Gankstars to even defend against sieges. Let alone the fact that they have got very poor wave clear. The siege from C9, because it's a triple ranged, is excellent.
Excellent siege, excellent team fight capability. Rek's gonna move forward, he's looking for a target. Quibble onto Old School. Can they find the damage to follow though? The Atlas balls are landed as well. They block off the Force to Court. They move back. It's Xenotech on the front line, but he's melting. A two-man Quibble out of Rek. Old School and C9 able to move back as a group. They're gonna go ahead and recall back to base here. That was about the best engagement we've seen out of Gankstars.
Exactly, that was the perfect way to try and start a fight here for Rekt. He jumps in with the Journey Boots. He did exactly what we talked about when we talked about the Journey Boots being selected. Gets in to get the Quibble down onto a key target so that he doesn't have to force the Forced Accord to make the fight happen. But I have to give credit to iLoveJoseph there. That Suri strike onto Old School's position, followed by the forward barrage, kept Xenotech at bay. The Frostburn started doing its work, and then they started to kite properly. iLoveJoseph knew exactly where to position the Sky right there to protect his team, did an excellent job of it. Look at Rekt though. Because of how threatening the Sky is to a Finn, this is a classic Rekt build, by the way. Double shielding on top of the fountain shielding. This is something that Rekt pioneered last year. He was kind of the guy that was doing this at the North American Summer Live Championship.
And this is particularly good on Finn, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because it shares those stats with the team when you use Polite Company, so obviously that's fantastic. And they seem to perceive, obviously because of the range that Sky has in the Frostburn, they perceive iLoveJoseph as the biggest threat here. That's the most damage that they are trying to protect themselves for. It also means it's likely the target that they want to focus as well.
Now there's a nice scout trap actually down in the Kraken pit right now. I really like the Gankstars had that down. Cloud9 gonna hope to clear that one out. Flares coming out from both teams as they look to keep their eyes on their opponent. C9 moving forward, Joseph forward barrage from range. We'll see if Rekt is going to look for a Force to Court or maybe one of those boots in for the Quibble. He's going to actually boots in. He's looking for the Quibble, silenced up, mortal wound applied as well. He's using that Polite Company, trying to frontline. Force to Court blocked off once again. Gabe Vissel coming through clutch for his team. Rekt melting low. Can they find the damage with Xenotech? They're all going down so low. I don't know if Xeno can do it. They're down. That is going to be the ace here. 8-0. 18 minutes into this one. Cloud9 just on a tear.
And look at the way that C9 play these team fights. They all group up. They move as a unit. They utilize the fact that the Frostburn makes it easier for everybody to kite. Gabe Vizzel's Bright Bulwarks at the right time make it very difficult for, to be honest, a very slow team to move through an already impossible moment. Everything that C9 has done has been right this game. Humanist, they're going for the win.
They are splitting these turrets down perfectly here, keeping that respawn timer as perfect as can be. Now can they get the damage onto the Vein Crystal turret as Gankstars try to make their last stand? Gankstars can't defend. Cloud9 take the Vein Crystal, and they are up 2-0 in this finals here. Feels good to be a Cloud9 fan right now.
Absolutely, Humanist. I have never seen such perfect execution in such a high-pressure situation. C9 have looked dominant. Gankstars have